I always thought I was doing my best. Isn't that what we all tell ourselves? We convince ourselves that if we give them everything, everything we didn't have, everything we wanted for them, they'll turn out fine. But as time went on, I began to question if my version of fine was truly what she needed. Elise was always a quiet child. Even as a toddler, she wasn't the screaming, demanding type. Instead, she was serious, thoughtful, sensitive. I remember feeling so lucky to have a child like her. No tantrums. No outbursts. I would watch other parents struggle with their children, but with Elise, things were calm. Easy, almost. I figured we were doing something right. It was so simple to think that. I didn't grow up with that. My childhood was a far cry from what I wanted to give her. My mother was raising 3 of us on her own. We didn't have the luxury of cuddles and bedtime talks. There was no time for that. There was work to do. Floors to scrub. Dishes to wash. We didn't talk about feelings, there was no room for them. We just got things done. When I became a mother, I promised myself things would be different. I wanted to do better than what I had. I thought better meant giving her stability, discipline, and structure, things I didn't have as a child. I wanted her to feel secure, to feel that she was loved and cared for, even if we didn't always show it in the ways I'd imagined as a kid. We never yelled at her. Never hit her. She had her own room. Piano lessons. New clothes every year. We went on summer trips together, just the 3 of us, escaping the routine of everyday life. We went to parent-teacher meetings, made sure she had everything she needed. What more could a child need? I thought we were doing everything right. What else was there? But then came high school, and that's when things began to shift. She started to pull away. She stopped talking to us, started hiding in her room with her headphones in, as though she were shutting us out entirely. I thought it was just the typical teenage rebellion. Leave her alone, I said to my husband. She'll grow out of it. But my husband and I were wrong. So wrong. At first, it didn't seem like a big deal. Teenagers are supposed to pull away, right? It's normal, everyone said. I figured we'd just give her space. No need to push. She would talk when she was ready. That was our philosophy, respect her privacy, respect her boundaries. We didn't want to pry. I didn't want to be one of those mothers who hovered over her child, constantly questioning her, trying to control her every move. But there was a heaviness to the silence in our house. Elise stopped sharing her thoughts, stopped opening up to us. She didn't ask for help, didn't show any interest in family activities. I noticed the way she retreated further into herself, isolating in her room for hours, the door always closed, the music always playing. And even though I told myself it was normal, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was slipping away. When she dyed her hair blue, I felt a small stab of annoyance, though I didn't show it. It wasn't because I cared about the color, it was just the suddenness of it, the boldness. I thought she was trying to get attention. I didn't understand it. It seemed like a rebellious act, something to make a statement. And maybe, in some way, it was. But at the time, I couldn't see that. All I could see was her trying to make herself stand out in a way that felt uncomfortable. I told her to cover it up when we went to her grandmother's birthday party. Not because I was ashamed of her, but because my mother was old-fashioned. I didn't want to start any drama, didn't want her to be judged. I thought I was doing the right thing by making Elise compromise, by asking her to soften her appearance for the sake of keeping the peace. But looking back, I see that all I did was push her further into silence, into thinking that her choices, her individuality, didn't matter. Those little moments, the hair, the distance, the silence, were the signs I should have been paying attention to. They were her way of telling me something, asking for something I didn't know how to give. She was speaking, but I wasn't listening. And when she finally started therapy in her 20s, I didn't know how to react. She half told me, casually, that she was working through some things. She didn't say much more than that, but it was enough to make me uncomfortable. I didn't fully understand why she needed therapy, or what it meant for her to say she was working through something. Instead of offering support, I said something stupid like, "Don't let them put ideas in your head." How could I have been so ignorant? How could I not see that she was reaching out for help, trying to make sense of the things she couldn't talk about with me? And instead of acknowledging her pain, I brushed it off. I shut it down. God, I wish I could take that back. That was the moment I began to realize that I had no idea how to truly understand my daughter. I thought I was doing everything right, but I couldn't have been more wrong. And when she tried to talk to me about her childhood, how she felt like we didn't really see her, I didn't know how to listen. I didn't know how to accept that I might have failed her. I got defensive. I told her, "You had a roof over your head, clothes, food. We were always there." But what I didn't understand at the time, and what I am only starting to understand now, is that being there physically isn't the same as being present. Being present means truly seeing your child, hearing their needs, understanding their pain. And I hadn't done that. Not fully. And I didn't know how to. But then came the silence. It wasn't like we had a fight, not a big one anyway. There were no screaming matches, no harsh words exchanged. It just happened. Slowly, quietly, Elise started pulling further away. First, it was the days that turned into weeks. Then, weeks turned into months. At first, I told myself it was nothing. She was busy. She was adjusting to life. But deep down, I knew it wasn't just that. Something had shifted, and I couldn't fix it. I didn't know how. One day, my calls went unanswered. At first, I didn't think much of it. Maybe she was in class or out with friends. But when it happened again, I started to feel that familiar knot in my stomach, the one that told me something wasn't right. I left a message. I called again. I texted. But no reply. I told myself it was just a phase. I told my husband, "She's just angry. She'll come around. Maybe she's mad about something specific." But the weeks went on, and there was still no word from her. No calls. No texts. Nothing. And then, one day, I saw it. She had blocked us. On everything. Social media. Our phones. Completely gone. I didn't understand. I still don't. How could we go from being so close, from being a family, to this? It felt like someone had died, but with no closure, no goodbyes, no final conversation. Just silence. I couldn't stop crying. I remember one night, standing in the kitchen with my husband. He was holding a cup of tea in his hands, the same tea neither of us had touched. I was crying, my body shaking with the weight of it all, and he was just standing there, helpless, as if he didn't know what to do with me. I asked him, "How did we get it so wrong? What did we miss?" I wanted to believe that we had done everything right, but the truth was, maybe we hadn't. Maybe, somehow, we had failed her. Maybe we were the ones who were lost. My husband didn't have any answers. He just said, "We didn't. She's just lost." But I started to wonder, maybe we were the ones who were lost. Maybe we still are. I don't hate her for it. I don't. But I don't fully understand it either. And maybe I never will. But I'm starting to understand it more. Slowly. In ways I wish I'd known earlier. In ways I wish I could have fixed things before it all became so final. And so I began to read. A year ago, I found a book about childhood emotional neglect. It spoke to me in ways I hadn't expected. As I read, I underlined entire pages, each line ringing with a truth I had been too blind to see before. All the things I had brushed off, small moments, overlooked gestures, suddenly made sense. I could see them clearly now: the bike accident she had when she was little. The times she cried and I told her to just get over it. The moments when she told me something was wrong, and I didn't know how to listen, how to truly hear her. I thought I was teaching her to be strong. But in reality, I was teaching her how to disappear. How to be invisible. If I could talk to her now, I would say this: you were right. You were right to feel invisible. I didn't see it then, but I see it now. I didn't know how. I'm sorry. Not just a surface-level apology, but a true, deep apology. I thought I was doing the right thing, providing, protecting, guiding. But I didn't know how to love you the way you needed. And you didn't owe me the cost of figuring that out. I can only hope you're building something now that feels like home, even if that means we're not a part of it. You deserve to find peace, to find a place where you can feel seen. And if you ever decide to come back, I will be here, with open arms. But until then, I will work on understanding, on growing, on being a better version of the mother you needed. Even if it's too late. It's funny, isn't it? How many things we realize too late, when the chance to make things right has already slipped through our fingers. If I could go back, I would have done so many things differently. I would have listened more. I would have put my own pride aside and heard her. I would have asked more questions, instead of just offering advice. It's hard to admit that you didn't know what your child needed. That you missed the signs, the small cries for help that you didn't understand because they didn't look like the ones you expected. I always thought I was doing enough because I provided. I thought providing meant I was doing the right thing, but that wasn't enough. I wasn't really there for her in the ways that mattered. And I think that's what hurts the most. I never really saw her. Not in the way she needed me to. I saw her on the surface, of course. I made sure she had food, a safe place to sleep, a bed full of new clothes every year. I thought that was enough. I thought that was what love looked like. But love isn't just about giving things. It's about showing up. Really showing up. Not just physically, but emotionally. I didn't realize that until now. I didn't realize how much Elise had been silently screaming for my attention, for my understanding, for me to see her for who she was, not just as the child I thought I knew. I used to think that love meant discipline. Structure. Stability. I thought love meant giving her everything I never had: a perfect house, piano lessons, summer vacations, parent-teacher meetings. But it wasn't enough. I was so caught up in what I thought was right that I missed the point. I didn't see the emotional side of it, the part of love that involves connecting with someone's heart, not just their outward needs. And when she tried to talk to me about it, when she finally tried to open up about how she felt like we didn't see her, that's when I shut down. I didn't know how to hear it, how to listen without feeling defensive. I didn't know how to admit that I had failed her, that I hadn't been the mother she needed me to be. Because if I admitted that, if I acknowledged my shortcomings, then what kind of mother was I? But now, I understand. Now, I see the truth. I see the gap between the mother I wanted to be and the mother I actually was. I wasn't perfect, and I didn't know everything. I thought I had it all figured out, but the truth is, I didn't. And I know that, by the time I realized all of this, it was too late. She had already pulled away. She had already made the decision to cut us off. To stop answering our calls. To block us out completely. But I don't hate her for it. I can't. I understand it now. I understand why she did it. She wasn't angry at me. She wasn't trying to hurt me. She was trying to protect herself from the pain of being invisible, from the pain of not being seen for who she truly was. She needed something I didn't know how to give. If I could talk to her now, I would say this: I'm sorry. I'm so sorry for not seeing you. For not listening. For thinking that providing was enough when you needed so much more. I'm sorry for the times I made you feel invisible, for the times I dismissed your feelings. I wish I had been the mother you needed. I wish I had been more than just a provider. But I can't change the past. All I can do is learn from it. All I can do is grow, try to be better for myself and for her. I hope, wherever she is, she knows that I'm sorry. And that if she ever decides to come back, I'll be here, ready to listen, ready to really see her, ready to be the mother she always deserved. But until then, all I can do is hold on to the hope that she's building something for herself, a place that feels like home, even if that means we're not part of it. And that's okay. I just want her to feel loved, truly loved. I hope she knows that. It's strange, isn't it? How time seems to slip by when you're waiting for something to change, for something to shift, and yet, no matter how much you hope, things don't always unfold the way you want them to. I've spent so many nights reflecting on everything, the mistakes, the missteps, the missed chances, and wondering how we got here, wondering where I went wrong. There were days I felt consumed by regret, haunted by everything I didn't do, the words I didn't say. I spent countless hours thinking about Elise, about her silence, and about the distance between us that seemed to grow wider with every passing day. I've cried more times than I can count, not just for the daughter I lost, but for the mother I failed to be. It's a grief that lives inside me, one I can't shake, no matter how much I wish I could. But the truth is, I can't undo the past. I can't take back the things I didn't understand. I can't change the way I handled things when she was younger, when she needed me to truly see her. All I have now is the knowledge that I wasn't the mother I thought I was. And that realization, painful as it is, has become the driving force for me to change. Not for her, not for anyone else, but for me. I started therapy, too. Not because I thought it would fix everything, but because I needed to understand myself. I needed to understand how I had gotten to this point, why I had been so blind to my daughter's needs, and how I could start healing, even if it meant doing it alone. I also started writing letters to Elise, ones I'm not sure I'll ever send. They're not about fixing things, they're about me owning up to my mistakes, telling her everything I wish I'd said when I had the chance. There's a part of me that still hopes she'll come back, that she'll reach out and let me explain. But there's another part of me that knows that might never happen. And, in a way, I've made peace with that. Because no matter what happens, I can't keep holding on to the idea that I can change the past. I can only move forward. If she ever reads these letters, or hears my apology one day, I want her to know this: I'm sorry. I didn't understand you then, and I didn't know how to love you the way you needed. But I see it now. I see the pain I caused you, and I know that I can't take it back. But I hope, somehow, in the future, we'll both find healing. Maybe not together, but I believe healing is possible. And even if she's not ready to forgive me, I can't keep blaming myself for what happened. I can only do the best I can now, for myself and for the mother I want to become. If she ever decides to come back, I'll be here, ready to listen, ready to make amends. Until then, I hope she's found a place where she feels truly seen, where she feels understood. I hope she's found peace, even if that means it's without me. Because at the end of the day, I just want her to be happy. I just want her to know that I loved her. I always have, even when I didn't know how to show it. And I'll keep learning, keep growing, as painful as it is, because that's all I can do now. I have to accept that sometimes, the hardest part of being a mother is realizing that your child's path may not include you. But I will always love her, and I will always wish her the best.
This story, it hits so deeply. You can feel the weight of every word, the slow unraveling of a mother's heart as she comes to realize the depth of her missteps and the distance between her and her daughter. The regret, the self-blame, and the quiet ache of wishing for a second chance to fix what was broken. It's not just a story about a mother and her child, it's a reflection of all the unspoken moments, the times when love wasn't expressed the right way, and how that silence can echo through years. I feel for this mother, so much. There's a raw vulnerability in her journey, a brutal honesty that makes you understand her pain without judgment. She tried her best, but she didn't understand. And sometimes, that's all it takes, just missing those small, quiet signals of need, the times when her daughter was crying out for connection, but the mother didn't know how to hear it. It's heartbreaking because you can see how much she loves her daughter, but the ways she loved her weren't the ways her daughter needed to feel seen. I think what really gets to me is how many of us, as parents, think we're doing the right thing by providing. We focus so much on the practical, the things we didn't have growing up, that we forget to nurture the emotional side. This mother's realization, that providing isn't the same as being present, is such a painful truth. It resonates deeply because we all want to be good, loving parents. But sometimes we miss what's right in front of us, and it's devastating to realize the impact it has. The moment she admits she failed, when she acknowledges that she didn't see her daughter, that's when it hits hardest. And yet, despite all the pain, despite everything, there's a quiet sense of hope in the story. A hope that healing is possible, even if it's not together. Even if her daughter never comes back. She's learning, growing, changing, and that's the best any of us can do. I can't help but feel so much empathy for this mother. There's a profound sense of loss, yes, but there's also a kind of grace in her acceptance that she can't change the past, only move forward. That's the hardest thing to do, accepting that you can't fix everything, but still finding a way to love yourself, to continue growing, to make things right for yourself. This story makes me think about the relationships we all have, the ways we sometimes miss each other, even with the best of intentions. It's a stark reminder that love is not just about providing, it's about showing up, being present, truly listening. And it leaves me wondering, how many times do we miss the chance to really see the people we love, especially when they need it most?